And you're saying that you're testifying that President Trump approved this ahead of time. Is that my understanding?
We had conversations about making sure that we were telling people.
No, ma'am. I'm asking you, sorry to interrupt, but the president approved ahead of time you spending $220 million running TV ads across the country in which you are featured prominently.
Yes, sir. We went through the legal processes, did it correctly.
Did the president know you were going to do
OMB.
this?
Yes.
He did?
Yes.
Okay.
And one thing, Senator, I think would be helpful to know is how effective that communications has been. That
Well, they were
overwhelmingly
effective in your name recognition.
Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana puts DHS Secretary Kristi Noem on the spot with a simple but devastating question. How do you justify spending $220 million in taxpayer-funded television advertisements that feature you prominently when your entire brand is built on fiscal responsibility? The questions about presidential approval, contractor connections, and a company formed just 11 days before winning a government contract make this one of the most uncomfortable Senate exchanges of the year. Secretary Kristi Noem had answers. Whether those answers were satisfying is something every American watching has to decide for themselves. Watch the full breakdown, every segment analyzed, every contradiction exposed. Let's dive into the main video.
I believe you have a policy, Madam Secretary, that you have to approve all contracts at your department over $100 million.
No, sir. I have a policy in place that I review contracts. My deputy chiefs have the ability to review anything under $5 million. Above that, I evaluate and look at.
Okay. And you do that, I understand, to try to curb waste and abuse of taxpayer money. Is that right?
Yes, sir. In fact, it's been extremely effective. We've saved the taxpayers over $13.2 billion just by evaluating contracts, negotiating lower ones, and canceling ones that aren't necessary to do our duties.
How do you square that concern for waste, which I share, with the fact that you have spent $220 million running television advertisements that feature you prominently?
Sir, the president tasked me with getting the message out to the country and to other countries where we were seeing the invasion come from, with putting commercials out that told them that if they were in this country illegally, that they needed to leave, or we would detain them and remove them, and they'd not get the chance to come back to America the right way. That has been extremely effective.
Ask you to run these advertisements, is that right?
We had that conversation, yes, before I was put in this position and sworn in and confirmed, and since then as well.
Okay. Did you bid out those service contracts?
Yes, they did. They went out to a competitive bid, and career officials at the department chose who would do those advertising commercials.
And the people that you ended up picking were people who had formerly done your political work back in South Dakota, is that right?
No, that's not correct, sir.
I think it is.
No, it's not, sir. The individuals who, I believe the careers who they chose were two different media firms. There's been conversation about their subcontractors, but we have no legal authority to look into subcontractors on work like that.
Okay. And you're saying that you're testifying that President Trump approved this ahead of time. Is that my understanding?
We had conversations about making sure that we were telling people.
No, ma'am. I'm asking you, sorry to interrupt, but the president approved ahead of time you spending $220 million running TV ads across the country in which you are featured prominently.
Yes, sir. We went through the legal processes, did it correctly.
Did the president know you were going to do
OMB.
this?
Yes.
He did?
Yes.
Okay.
And one thing, Senator, I think would be helpful to know is how effective that communications has been. That
Well, they were
overwhelmingly
effective in your name recognition. I mean, I personally just, I mean, to me, it puts the president in a terribly awkward spot. And and I'm not saying you're not telling the truth. It's just hard for me to believe, knowing the president, as I do, that you said, Mr. President, here's some ads I've cut, and I'm going to spend $220 million running them, that he would have agreed to that. I don't think Russ Vogt at OMB would have agreed to that. It's something we have to defend. I'm on the Appropriations Committee. My research shows that you did not bid them out, that you pick, in fact, one of the people you picked, the strategy group, Safe America Media was a company formed 11 days before you picked them, and that the strategy group got most of the money, and the head of that is married to your former spokesperson. Look, we all have friends who are qualified. I'm not quibbling with that. It troubles me. A fifth to a quarter of $1 billion of taxpayer money when we're scratching for every penny and we're fighting over rescission packages. I just can't agree with, Madam Secretary. Are you still running those ads?
No, Senator, I did not have anything to do with picking those contractors. No politicals at the Department of Homeland Security did.
I understand. Are you
Career
still running
officials
those
followed
ads?
the competitive bid process for
Are you
that.
still running
Everything
those ads?
I think the ads are due to end here in March, I think within a week
So
or two.
they
I'm
are
not sure of
still
the
running?
update. The one that is running is focusing on angel families. Have you seen that? It is the one that's talking about this is our why. This is why we work every day.
Okay.
Is for the angel
I've gotta
families
move
and their
on.
victims that need to.
Senator John Kennedy did not arrive at that hearing to perform. While others in that room may have been content to lob softballs, accept rehearsed answers, and move on to the next agenda item, Senator Kennedy came loaded with something far more dangerous to the unprepared witness sitting across from him. He came with facts. $220 million in taxpayer money. A government contract was awarded to a company that did not exist 11 days before it was selected. A second firm whose principal leadership shares a direct and undeniable personal connection to the very secretary whose department cut the check. A contract review policy, championed loudly and proudly by that same secretary that somehow failed to flag any of it. Kennedy laid every single one of those facts down, calmly, methodically, and without the theatrical fury that lesser legislators rely on when the substance runs thin. His substance did not run thin. It ran deep and was damning. What Kennedy demonstrated in that exchange was not partisanship. It was not personal animosity toward Kristi Noem. It was something far more valuable and far more rare in modern Washington. It was genuine, fearless, bipartisan fiscal accountability. He said plainly that he sits on the Appropriations Committee, that Congress is fighting over every penny in rescission packages, and that $250 million flowing toward personally connected contractors and a prominently featured cabinet secretary simply cannot be waved away with talking points about effectiveness and presidential conversations. He spoke for the single mother paying her taxes. He spoke for the small business owner writing that quarterly check. He spoke for every American who has ever been told that government cannot afford to do more, right before discovering that it somehow found hundreds of millions of dollars to put one person's face on television screens across the country. Senator Kennedy asked the questions that Washington too often refuses to ask. He pushed when pushing was uncomfortable. He doubted when doubt was warranted. And he refused, at every turn, to let polished deflection masquerade as an honest answer.